I had a pretty decent day. We can go over it right now. What happened was, we had a pretty big gap. Not like it's been in recent days, but it was a pretty nice size gap. So I didn't fade the gap because it was a bit too big. So I just said, let me, relax and let the market play out, let it shake out a little bit. So, we're in a nice, healthy uptrend here. And my first trade was right around these areas here. I actually got in at a really good price, and I scaled out on my first two positions. My first two thirds of my position. Then it came back. See, what I do is when I scale out, I actually move my stop up too as well. So I move. I don't. Like I always say, I don't trade with a stop, like a hard stop in the market. It's like a stop where I know, okay, my like a price stop, like a mental stop. So when the market came down and it ticked me out and I got out, I'm following my rules. I got out. Well, it was a small winner because I got out of two-thirds of my position. Nothing, it was just a small winner, paid for commission. And then the market did this, and I'm like, oh man, I've been trading for a while, but sometimes that stuff gets to me too. I thought I missed the move because this was a decent sized move. I'm like, wow, so I missed the move. But being a little bit experienced, I said, okay, I'll get another shot. So these are the areas where I got right here. I got filled. I'll tell you, I got filled at 60, 75. But a little bit of how I work orders. Once I start seeing areas that I like, I'll start working the order. So I remember I had an order at 68.50, and if I don't get filled, and I'll give it a couple seconds, because sometimes you can just get that better price. So I had it at right under where the inside market was. So I had it at 60, 50. It didn't get filled. So what I then do is, if I don't get filled fast enough, I'll take it. And if you're looking at a dome, I'll just take it and I'll click on the dome like a above. I call it. It's kind of like a market order, but I call it like an aggressive limit order where I'll click above and then it just fill me. And because I used to be like, it's a mental thing that used to happen where I used to freeze up and not trade. So when I added this, I actually get into trades where I don't freeze up. So this was the trade of the day for me. So I got it. I got filled at 60.75, which is a good price. I scaled out of my first two, added added back full. Around these areas, I'm fully positioned now, and I caught this outlier trade. This one outlier trade, guys, carried me for the rest of the day, and that's why I keep preaching: hunt for the outlier trade. One or two outlier trades will carry you for the rest of the day, and this did, because from here on out, I really didn't trade too well, far as wins, and it really didn't. Right here, I took a shot right here. Didn't like what I was seeing in price. I scratched. I probably lost about 2 ticks per contract. That wasn't too bad. That was a good trade. Nevertheless, it was a loser. Market came down here. I got filled right here at 63.75. Full stop out, guys. Didn't get no targets hit. So now I got a small loser and a full stop out loser. Not doing too well. But I'm still leaning on my outlier trade that I took earlier. Then, right in these areas here, I took another trade. I took another short. It wasn't moving fast enough, so I was just sitting and sitting and sitting. Small loss again, no big deal. Couple ticks, 2 3 ticks, and then here I took another shot. I re-entered really fast and got here. And this, I stayed in this for a while. I sat in this trade for a while, and it just wasn't going anywhere. So I covered. I mean, I got out of my position around here. It was a small winner. It was probably enough to cover this small loser. So them two, this trade down here and these areas out here probably broke even. So I really didn't lose too much on that. But this was chop. And I always say this. This is just what I believe. Nobody knows chop ahead of time. It just, to me, is impossible. Like, this was chop after the fact. After I got into this move, then I can see chop. I didn't know it was going to be chop before I got into the move. Just my opinion. Some may say they can see chop before it happens, but I can't. So I didn't see this was chop after the fact. So when that happened, I said, okay, I got out, small winner. I'm up for the day. I know I'm up for the day because of the outlier trade. So I just said I'm taking lunch. So I came back from lunch and took about a half hour, 40 minutes in that area. So always I do my bias line. So of course I'm long bias. So then I told myself I came back, yeah, kind of around these areas when the market started to drop here. Um, in these areas here. So I said either I want the market to break this nice swing high, and then I'll be willing to take more longs because of this chop after the fact. Like I said, I noticed it after the fact, and then or I want to break lower so I can start looking for shorts. And sure enough, it broke lower. So I was patient for a while. It broke lower, and then now I'm looking short, which I was happy because it was either or. Um, like I said, once I catch an outlier trade, guys, it's almost I have to be falling asleep if I want a losing day. So then I caught this nice little trade here. I caught this nice trade here. Wasn't an outlier trade. It was in between an outlier trade and right in between. So it was a decent trade. Pushed my P&L up a little further. I got in here and I covered. I mean covered. Yeah, I covered right around these areas here. So that was a nice little trade up in these areas. So that was good. So then right when that entered, I took a shot here at another short. Got in, scaled out my first two uh, positions, got back in, and then it came over here and stopped me out. Like I said, once I start to scale out and I scale back in, I'm moving my stop down, my trailing stop down. So I end up getting stopped. End up getting stopped out because I don't want to keep my stop the same if I'm adding back in. Be a huge loser. So I end up breaking even. I paid commission on that particular trade. And then here, I took another short right around here. Market didn't do anything for a couple minutes, so I scratched this thing. Didn't get out. Just I probably lost a couple ticks, and that was my last trade of the day, guys. When that happened, I was like, I'm done for the day. Pretty okay day. The action was a little weird, a little bit, but it was some action, so that was a good thing. So I mean, that's my day in a nutshell. And I keep preaching this over and over again. Hunt for the outlier trade. Those outlier trades are going to carry you through the second half of the day for me, which was pretty much nothing. I probably had a losing day the second half of the day. But that one trade from these areas into here, which I don't know, about 8 points. I don't know exactly, but I know it was a pretty nice, decent trade. I mean, nice trade for me, outlier trade. And the rest of the day, I really didn't do too much. Um, but yeah, it was a pretty good Monday. I had my size pretty low today, just because it is a Monday. But hopefully and I started to up it because we did have that huge gap. We gapped out of the range of say Thursday. I didn't really count Friday, but we gapped out of the range of Thursday. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have some action. I knew that, so I knew the market was gonna have nice little swings. But for me, I like today. That was a pretty decent day. Again, I always believe chop. You don't know it when it's happening. You know it after the fact. It's what you do when you know it's chop. There's no way of me knowing this is going to be chop. So, just my personal opinion. Some may differ, but that's just how I feel. But I hope you guys had a good trading day. If you have any questions, you guys know, put them in a journal, and I'll be happy to answer them. Have a good night, guys.